Have you ever looked at someone's life and thought, why not me? Why can't I be that talented, that rich, that confident? It hurts, doesn't it? Because no matter how hard we try, someone always seems to be ahead. But what if I told you that the moment you stop comparing, you actually start winning your own race? This is the story of a young man who learned that lesson the hard way, and what he discovered can change how you see yourself forever. In a small mountain town where the mornings smelled of pine and the evenings echoed with cricket songs, lived a boy named Aaron. Aaron was kind, honest, and hardworking, but he carried one heavy burden. He always compared himself with others. When he saw his childhood friend Noah winning medals in school, Aaron would stay up all night thinking, why can't I be that smart? When his cousin Mia posted pictures of her new car on social media, Aaron's chest tightened. She's my age and look at me, he whispered. Even small things, someone's clothes, someone's smile, became reasons for Aaron to doubt himself. He didn't hate people for doing well, but he slowly started hating himself. And that's where his light began to fade. Days passed, and Aaron's smile became rare. He avoided gatherings, avoided conversations, and started scrolling endlessly on his phone, watching others live the life he wished for. Every scroll was like a small knife cutting into his peace. His mother noticed and asked softly, "Aaron, are you okay?" He forced a smile. "Yeah, Mom, just tired." But inside, he felt empty. He started believing he was born to be average, that maybe he wasn't meant to shine. What he didn't know was that comparison had already stolen his joy before life even got the chance to bless him. One afternoon, Aaron's father sent him to an old carpenter named Mr. Tobias to repair a wooden chair. Tobias was known in the village, not rich, not famous, but peaceful. His workshop smelled of sawdust and warm memories. When Aaron entered, he saw Tobias humming a tune while carving a piece of wood. "Ah, you must be Aaron," the old man said kindly. "Sit, boy. Tell me, what's bothering you?" Aaron blinked in surprise. "How did you know something's bothering me?" Tobias chuckled. "You have the eyes of someone who measures himself against the world. I used to have those eyes too." Aaron fell silent. Somehow, he felt safe to talk. Tobias pointed to the broken chair Aaron had brought. He said, "This chair reminds me of people." Aaron looked confused. "See this leg?" He tapped it. "It's shorter than the others. If it keeps comparing itself, it'll think it's weak. But when I fix it, when I balance it properly, the whole chair becomes strong." He looked at Aaron. "We humans are like that. Each of us is built for something different. But we waste years wishing to be like others." Aaron sighed. "I know, but it's hard. Everyone around me seems better. I feel like I'm always behind." Tobias smiled. "Come back tomorrow morning. I'll show you something." The next morning, Aaron returned. Tobias led him behind the workshop to a small garden. There were roses, sunflowers, cacti, and even wild grass. Tobias said, "Tell me, which one of these is the most beautiful?" Aaron thought for a moment. "The roses, I guess." Tobias nodded. "Most people say that. But imagine if every plant tried to become a rose. This garden would lose its life, its colors, its uniqueness." Aaron watched the sunlight fall over the flowers. The cactus looked proud, standing tall with its thorns, while the wild grass danced freely in the wind. "They're all beautiful in their own way," Aaron murmured. Tobias smiled. Exactly. The cactus doesn't envy the rose. The rose doesn't mock the grass. They just bloom as they are. Then Tobias handed Aaron a small mirror. "Look at yourself," he said. Aaron stared at his reflection. Tired eyes, quiet face. Tobias asked softly, "What do you see?" Aaron shrugged. "Someone who's not enough." Tobias leaned closer. "No, my boy. What you see is someone trying too hard to be somebody else. You keep polishing a mirror, hoping it'll show another face. But the truth is, your reflection is already special. You just refuse to believe it." Aaron felt tears fill his eyes. He had spent so long running in other people's races that he forgot to even name his own. Tobias placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Start honoring who you are, not who you think you should be." That night, Aaron couldn't sleep. Tobias's words echoed in his mind. He walked outside under the moonlight, feeling the cool air on his face. For the first time, instead of asking, "Why am I not like them?" he asked, "Who am I, really?" He started listing his small qualities: his patience, his honesty, his ability to listen, his love for helping people. They seemed small, but they were real. He realized that while others were busy chasing fame, he had a quiet strength that could make a real difference. And that night, something shifted inside him. The storm of comparison started to calm. Over the next few months, Aaron began focusing on his own path. He loved fixing things, so he started helping Tobias in the workshop after school. At first, he wasn't very skilled. His hand shook and he made mistakes. But Tobias always smiled and said, "Don't rush. Even the tree takes years before it bears fruit." Slowly, Aaron's work improved. One day he carved a small wooden bird that looked so real, Tobias placed it on the front counter. People who came to the shop started asking, "Who made that?" Tobias proudly said, "My student, Aaron." For the first time, Aaron felt proud, not because someone praised him, but because he knew he was growing in his own way. But life, as always, tests us again. A few weeks later, Aaron saw Noah, his old friend, on TV, winning a national award for science. The old pain returned. He felt the familiar sting of comparison rise in his chest. For a moment, he wanted to throw away his tools, to stop working altogether. But then Tobias's voice echoed in his memory. If every plant tried to be a rose, the garden of life would lose its beauty. Aaron smiled sadly. No, not again. That's his path. Mine is different. He went back to work, carving a new design, a wooden sun rising from behind the mountains. It was as if he was carving his own story into the wood, rising slowly but surely. Months passed, and the village held its annual craft festival. Tobias encouraged Aaron to showcase his work. Aaron hesitated but agreed. When the day arrived, his small wooden creations, birds, lamps, and carvings were displayed on a simple table. Next to his booth was a flashy stall with bright lights and huge sculptures made by professional artists. For a second, Aaron felt small again, but then he took a deep breath. It's not a competition, he told himself. It's a celebration. Throughout the day, people stopped by his stall. They smiled, touched his work, and said, "These feel alive." Aaron didn't win any awards that day, but he won something far greater: peace. A few days later, Aaron received a letter from a customer who bought one of his carvings. It said, "Dear Aaron, I bought your wooden bird from the festival. My daughter loved it so much that she keeps it beside her bed.
She says it reminds her to keep flying, even when life feels heavy. Thank you for creating something so beautiful. Aaron's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, he understood what Tobias meant. When you stop comparing and start creating, you don't just change your life, you quietly touch the lives of others. Years later, Aaron became a known craftsman in his town. People admired not just his work, but the peace in his presence. He often told young boys who came to learn from him, "Never measure your worth with someone else's ruler. A fish doesn't need wings to prove its value. A tree doesn't need to run to prove its strength. You just need to grow in your own direction." He would often repeat Tobias's line, "If every plant tried to be a rose, the garden of life would lose its beauty." So stop comparing. You are not behind. You are not less. You're just on your own road, one that no one else can walk for you. If you ever feel like you're not enough, remember Aaron's story. Remember the mirror, the garden, the fish, the bird, and the carpenter's wisdom. Comparison kills joy, but acceptance gives birth to peace. So look at your life right now. See your own strengths, your own gifts. Because the moment you stop comparing, you begin to see who you truly are. And that is the start of your real success.